things hold value because of how much they matter to us.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. Like, and so that's been like a takeaway. I don't know, just when it comes to pettiness, but also when it comes to storytelling, like anything can have a tremendous amount of weight if you want to give it a tremendous amount of weight. And there's also all these studies now that will tell you like the importance of gossip and, discussing.
I'm so vindicated.
Like the banal interpersonal things that
Right.
just like don't matter and why it matters to connect about them. And also the fact that it's a little bit of like a female quality to, to dwell.
Welcome to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas, and today I am joined by Ceara O'Sullivan. She's an actor, comedian, SNL writer, and one half of the dynamic duo behind the Petty Crimes podcast. Today, Ceara and I talk about the ways being a TV writer has impacted her ability to watch television, the common denominator she's discovered behind most acts of pettiness, and the books that she loves. Plus, the thing that gave her hope that she could build a career in comedy. The Stacks Book Club pick for June is The Art Thief by Michael Finkel. Ceara and I will be back on Wednesday, June 25th to discuss the book, get your copy, read along, and check back in for that episode. Quick reminder, everything we talk about on each episode of The Stacks can be found in the link in the show notes. If you love The Stacks and you want inside access to it, you've got two amazing options to support the work of the show, plus earn yourself some bonus perks. Head to patreon.com/thestacks to join our bookish community, The Stacks Pack, and check out my newsletter at tracythomas.substack.com. Okay, now it's time for my conversation with Ceara O'Sullivan. All right, everybody, I'm really excited today because I'm joined by someone who is fancy for a lot of reasons, but my personal favorite reason is because she likes petty things and has a whole podcast dedicated to pettiness. And I got to be on it. I don't know if it'll be out by the time you're hearing this, but you will hear it. And I am at my worst.
I just listened to it today.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Well, that voice you just heard, that's Ceara O'Sullivan. She is a writer at SNL. She's also one of the co-hosts of the Petty Crimes podcast with her friend Griff. Ceara, welcome to The Stacks.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy.
I'm so excited. Before we get into pettiness, because that's probably where I'm going to spend the entire hour by accident.
Ooh.
Not really, but maybe. Can you just tell folks a little bit about yourself and just a dabble into your relationship to books?
Oh, of course. So let's see. I live in Manhattan. I write for television and I write movies, and I am a lifelong reader. I think I'm especially keen on books because I moved around so much growing up. My dad worked in trucking, and I went to a different school for 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade. And then I became a boarding student for 10th grade. So, those are some years where you really should be having some friends. And, sometimes you're not having friends and sometimes you're having books.
That was one of the first questions I had for you, because I heard you on the Sounds Like a Cult podcast talking about boarding schools. And I heard you talking about how you'd gone to all these different schools. And I was like, oh, no wonder she's a reader. Her friends are Ramona Quimby. She doesn't know real kids, because every year she has to do the thing where the teacher's like, and now we have a new student.
Exactly.
Ceara, is that how you say it?
Exactly, because my name is spelled Ceara. It's Ceara, but of course it looks like Sierra. And having this difficult to pronounce name is it's basically like a built-in barometer for my own self-worth, because I can tell depending on the day, sometimes the dental hygienist is calling me Sierra. Sometimes a date is calling me Sierra. I mean, not anymore. I'm married now, and my husband knows how to pronounce my name.
He better.
Did the priest on our wedding day? He did not. And that was too bad, but it is what it is.
Okay. Are you one of those people that if someone says your name wrong, you let it slide? Or do you say it's pronounced Ceara?
If it's a one-off interaction and the person is just, and they're just being polite, I'll just let it go. But if I'm gonna have repeat interactions, I've tried to get good at saying And my name is pronounced Kira.
I feel like I've talked about this on the podcast before, but there's people whose names like Steven or Stefan or something like that, and they don't care. They're like, oh, either one. And I'm like, what do you mean either one? Those are two different names.
Right.
And it makes me crazy because I'm like, I have a strong opinion about this. You should have a strong opinion about it because it's your literal name.
Yeah, that is that is so surprising to me. But my pet peeve when it comes to my name is when someone says they'd like to call me Ceara as a nickname. Oh. I'm like, that saying my name wrong is not a nickname.
That's confusing. Wait, so they'll say, oh, Ceara, and then you'll say, oh, it's Kira. And they said, well, can I call you Ceara as a nickname?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
thinking of like boys in high school, girls in college. And I was like, no.
No, that feels very bad. That to me is a reason to become petty if you weren't already. Like I would be like,
definitely.
Oh, now I hate you. Yeah.
Definitely. I think having a difficult to pronounce name made me petty. I think moving all over the place and meeting so many interesting people made me petty. All of it. I think real estate agents made me petty. I spent so much time with them. And I was like, I can't. I one time in 7th grade, I was looking at this house. It was an A-frame house. So, you know, one of those houses where it's all roof. Yes. There's no house.
Yes.
It was this brown A-frame house. And, you know, maybe it was kind of a vibe. But at the time I was like, oh my gosh, this brown A-frame house full of brown shag rug. And the real estate agent was trying so hard to sell my mom on this house. And I walked up to the real estate agent and I said, this house is a crab shack. And ever since then, my family's been like, is it a crab shack, Kira?
Wait, that's amazing. My mom works in real estate. So I also spent a lot of time with real estate agents, but because she would have to go to open houses every weekend to like network, I despise open houses. And my husband's always like, oh, let's go look at this house. I'm like, I'll never do it. You can't make me. I hate it. I hate filling out their little sheet, writing your little name on it. No thanks. When you were moving around, was it regional or were you all over the country? Were you international? Where were you living?
I was in New Jersey. I was in New York. I was in Michigan. I was in Ohio. I was back to Michigan. I was back to New York. Kind of just random places, really.
And for real, were books your friends or were you able to make friends? You're pretty outgoing. So I'm curious what that was like as a kid.
Yeah, books were for sure my friends. I'm sort of your classic fantasy first YA reader turned adult reader of fiction and autobiographies. That's really where I go. But yeah, like, you know, your Harry Potter, your Aragon, your City of Ember, your Hunger Games. It's like you can now totally tell that I'm 32 years old because of this. Like
so you're a little bit younger than me.
Like all those. Yeah, I would stay up all night long reading. And now the type of reader I am is that I now do audiobooks because my job is I'm so in the pages all day. And every Tuesday I write with coworkers, not by myself, but I collaboratively write over 50 pages of sketch.
Right.
And so I just am like, and then I'm poring over pages the rest of the week. So I think because of that, I've now become an audiobook girl.
Okay.
And I'm all about having a book in my ear and just stomping around New York City. Or sometimes I do this thing, if I haven't gotten any steps in because I've had a really busy day at work, I will stomp around my apartment at night with a book in my ear. And my husband is like, please, honey, you are doing laps around our one bedroom. It is like, please stop doing this.
That is so funny. I love book in my ear. I've never heard anyone say it like that, but I love that.
I love having a book in my ear.
That's so cute. Okay, I too love a book in my ear. I am in LA, so it's a lot of car book time as opposed to like directly in my ear headphones time. But I'm a big lover of audiobooks. But I'm wondering then, as a writer, has your taste in reading changed because of what you're writing? Like, can you read funny books, or are you turned off by that because you're writing funny stuff all the time?
That is such a good question. I do find myself gravitating toward books that are dissimilar from the type of writing that I do. So for a while, I got on a Reese Witherspoon book club kick, and I was kind of just like, just going beachy, easy romance.
Right.
And then I'm sure like some of your listeners have had, or maybe you've had this experience if you've read any of those. I got fatigued after a while because I was like, this is okay. We've explored the themes. Yeah. I'd love some new themes. Like, I'm not too critical of books that are humorous, but I am super critical of television because I write for TV.
Got it.
So I'm more so like if I'm trying to watch something and I'm watching the edit and I'm thinking like, you used that take, you used that shot, you didn't think you needed to punch up for that line on set.
Got it.
So and I mean, this has nothing to do with books, but the way that ends up affecting me is that all I want to watch is reality TV.
Oh, because you don't know the like world of that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know what it's like to be a producer on a reality TV show. And also those lines of dialogue are for the most part not written. So I'm not judging the writing or the writer's choices. I'm just like, wow, look at you go, Lindsay Hubbard on Summer House.
Well, that makes total sense. I feel like that's very relatable because, sometimes now when I'm reading certain books, I started to get annoyed with the editor. I'm like, who's your editor? Because I've read too many books. I know too much about what's possible, what choices can be made. And so oftentimes I start to get really cranky about what the marketing copy says on the book versus what's inside the book, like stupid things that, a regular person who's not reading as much as me isn't really paying attention to or thinking about. So it makes total sense that in the world of TV, you would be critical of things that a lay person would never notice.
Are you now familiar with the work of certain editors and like this is an amazing editor. Yes. Look at them go.
Yeah, I started tracking editors. I have this intense reading spreadsheet and I track every book that I read, like, how many pages, when it came out, all of that. But I also started tracking editors recently. Yeah. And now I have favorite editors for sure where I'm like, oh, this person edited it. I'll read it.
Wow. That makes so much sense to me because in television writing, we have a thing that we say, which is that like, a story is told in the edit. And it's, and at SNL, we really tell mini stories. Like, and you learn so much about storytelling, but it's in such a truncated format. And when I write a pre-tape, which is like, that's one of the, that's like a Lonely Island or a Please Don't Destroy video, or it's a digital short. Like it's the ones that don't happen live on, in the studio on Saturday. And we film them on Friday and then the editors edit all night long. And then you come in on Saturday morning to watch a first cut. And the first cut is always garbage. And you have to know how to take and they've done amazing work. It's actually insane that they managed to pull that off. Yada, yada. But we all agree it's not making us laugh out loud. It's not ready. And you make so many changes just in the edit to tell the story. And it has nothing to do with what was on the page and what was captured on camera. And so that I haven't given a lot of thought to editors of books, and now I'm going to.
Yeah, I had not either. And then certain names kept popping up when I would read the acknowledgments of the books.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, and I think we did a book club book that had the same editor of a book that I sort of liked, but I felt like it fell apart at the end. And that's the same way that I felt about the book club book that we did. And then someone was like, oh, those two books have the same editor. And that's when I decided I'm going to start tracking editors, because it's crazy that like the same problems could pop up or the same successes could pop up.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced that publishing should be marketing their editors in the same way that a Reese Witherspoon's book club, because if I know that I like 5 books you've edited, when I find out what's coming next, I'm going to bump it up on my list because I know that I like the work that you do in the same way that you trust a Reese or an Oprah and you know what those books are going to be. But editors are weird and they don't want to be in front of the camera and they don't want to be the star, and it's a different personality type. but I'm over here screaming at every publishing person I meet, telling them, please make your editors a star.
Well, I think you are really onto something because the more people you can introduce to the audience in connection with a story, the better. Like,
I agree.
you know, like when a TV series comes out and you know who the director is and you know who the star is, like all those people are what make you excited. So like if you can find another person other than the author.
Yeah. Especially I think that would really help debut authors too, because I don't know you. I don't know what to expect from you. I can read the marketing copy, but I might not be able to trust it.
Right.
Or it might not be telling me what I want to know. But if I know that Ceara O'Sullivan was the editor, I'll like, oh, great. I know what to expect. I'm going to check it out. I think you're right. The more people you can introduce, like connected to the project, the better.
Yeah. In the same way that, like, you know, publishers have great reputations.
Yeah.
But those are people connected to a project. In the same way that, like, I know I like A24 and the people at A24 and they have good taste. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that's why when you know who the showrunner is on a TV show, like if someone says Shonda, I'm like, okay, well, I'll try it. She's got a good track record with me. It works for me.
And they didn't used to think people cared about showrunners. And now they've realized
showrunners are stars now, I feel.
Yes.
I remember growing up as a kid, I didn't even know what a showrunner was, and now I feel like showrunner is such a phrase we talk Mike White, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Editors should be treated like showrunners. Some of them might have to stay behind the scenes. They're new, they don't know what they're doing, but your big names, your stars, your in-house people who have been there for decades, put them on some things. Let me know this was edited by Kathy Belden, because then I'm in.
They deserve credit too.
They do.
For the great work they're doing.
Some books have started putting like cast lists, not cast lists, but credits at the end with who worked on it. And I love those. I'm obsessed with those. I wish every publisher did it. Because I also think, you know this from writing in a TV space, that you don't do anything alone. And when it says written by this person, it sort of, you know, erases all the other people who worked on an episode, even if, you know, one person took the lead on it. And I just think it adds so much to know who had their hand in what.
Yes, 100%. Like in television writing, the person who created it, the like first listed author, they're the person who wrote it first. But then everybody else, like oftentimes the best ideas came about because they ricocheted off of other ideas.
Yeah.
Like there was a bad idea on the page and someone pointed out like, this is really bumpy. And then they had the idea for the better idea. So like, it's so collaborative. It's actually crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I want to shift a little bit to talk about petty crimes because hello.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm obsessed with a podcast. Can you just tell people what it is? Because you'll do a better job than me.
So Petty Crimes, it's a true crime comedy podcast where we only investigate basically interpersonal drama.
Yeah.
The show is episodic, so each week we have a new petty crime that's been submitted by a listener, and we investigate and deliberate and decide who is guilty and, you know, to what sentencing they're owed. And I started the podcast because I, like I said, love reality television. And I was listening to some kind of like reality TV companion podcasts, like, you know, those types of podcasts that are hosted by like a reality star.
Yeah.
And I just found that all the stuff they were talking about, all the exciting drama was happening on the TV screen, and there was nothing left to discuss in the podcast.
Right.
And I was thinking, like, I wish there was a podcast that had all of the drama, but in my ears.
Right.
And it's new and it's not like reductive. And so that was the impetus for the show. And Griff and I have been friends for over 10 years and we love hosting it together, and you should check it out if you want to.
It's so great. And you guys have such a great bond and relationship, and you're so funny. And I love that you two know each other so well, because things will come up and, you know, one of you will roll your eyes and the other one will be like, I know you're rolling your eyes about this. And like, it's like almost like you guys are siblings, I feel.
Yes.
Like you definitely have big like sibling or high school friend, like really throwback friend vibes.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you, in doing the podcast, have discovered anything broadly about pettiness that surprised you, or people's relationship to pettiness.
I have, actually. So we've hosted the show for, it's been, I think, close to 150 episodes.
So that's
Maybe,
almost 3 years.
Yeah. And I guess more if you were to count the Patreon. And something I've noticed about many of our submissions, like a theme across them, is that oftentimes people write about a situation and there's one obvious point where someone could have said something and they chose not to.
That was our entire episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the episode that you have to check out that Tracy is on, I think we're going to call it Champagne for My Real Friends. And it's all about these French girlies and not saying what needs to be said. Like,
yeah.
And so I guess I expect, like, what I like about the show is that it's like, it's all little things. It's nothing like over
not
the
real
top.
Crimes.
Yeah, it's not real crimes.
Like one of the
just
episodes you did with Brandon Goodman, I loved, was about a vibrator and whether a couple was getting a divorce and whether the wife or the husband should have the vibrator, and then something happened with the charger. And I mean, it's not a crime.
No,
but it is criminal.
Yeah. And like, oftentimes I think like, okay, the amount of calories that you've burned just writing the submission and sending it in, you could have bought a new vibrator and this all would have been over with. But it's like, things hold value because of how much they matter to us.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. Like,
right.
And so that's been like a takeaway. I don't know, just when it comes to pettiness, but also when it comes to storytelling, like anything can have a tremendous amount of weight if you want to give it a tremendous amount of weight. Like, I had this song that I wrote at SNL that was a pre-tape with Walton Goggins that I wrote for Jane Wickline, his new cast member who I love. And it's just about a woman finding a single baby shoe on the ground and basically deciding that she needs to find the baby that owns this shoe and she will be its mother. And if the baby has a mom, then now it has two moms and that's going to be what it is. And like, it's just about like this observation being blown out of the water. Right. And then it turns out Walton Goggins is like a fully grown ass man with baby feet on the end of his legs. But like, I don't know, just the idea that like you can take really small things and give them great importance.
I mean, I think that's what I love about pettiness personally, as an extremely petty person. I love a detail. I'm very detail oriented. And so I feel for me, pettiness is a place that I can really shine because I will remember every tiny little thing and I will make it the most high stakes thing. Like I love to bitch about something. My brother is not a dweller on things at all, but my best friend and my mom, they both will do that with me. And like a year ago, I was having babysitter drama and my mom and my best friend were out of the country. So I call my brother and I'm like, Brady, I have a story for you. And I go on for like 10 minutes and I'm like, and then I saw her in the blueberry aisle and then, you know, the blueberries fell. Like I'm giving him every detail. I'm like, and then she rolled her eyes at me, the fucking bitch, right? Going on. I get to the end of my story and I'm like, can you believe it? And he's like, no, I can't believe it. And I'm like, and I go back to the beginning to do a second round through because I'm one of those people.
Of course.
And he was like, you already told me this. Can I go? And I said, no, you cannot go. I said, are you hearing what I'm telling you? I'm doing round 2 now. But to me, that's the joy of pettiness is you can spin something that is so small to be so big. And I think, you know, the real reason I do it and probably a lot of people do it is because there's so much bad in the world. And it takes too much energy to dwell on real horrible things.
Yes.
It's much more fun to dwell on the babysitter knocking over the blueberries at the grocery store.
Of course. And there's also all these studies now that will tell you like the importance of gossip and, you know, discussing.
I'm so vindicated.
You know, like the banal interpersonal things that just like don't matter and why it matters to connect about them. And also the fact that it's a little bit of like a female quality to to dwell.
Well, I think, the gossip part of it is funny because we're around the same age. And when we were younger and all the celebrities and all the gossip magazines and that was like the biggest media. But in real life, everyone would tell you, don't gossip. Gossiping is rude, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our biggest celebrity industry was all around gossip. And I think about that so much. It's like I was trained to be a gossip because I was reading People magazine and watching, TRL and doing all of this stuff that was just like commercial gossip. So don't tell me I can't talk bad about someone behind their back in real life because this is what I've been primed to do.
Exactly.
Do you feel like there's a difference between being petty and being an actual like bad person, or are we all on the same spectrum and sometimes we just spiral out too far?
I do think there's a difference between being petty and being an actual bad person. To me, pettiness at its core is the want to be right.
Okay, yes.
So I connect pettiness more with somebody who is a perfectionist or competitive, which
You're
I
speaking
connect
to
with,
me.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? And detail oriented. And so I think somebody can be petty good or petty bad.
Okay.
But I do think if you are a good person, you know when to let things know. And,
I don't.
And that's
I don't. I think that's petty bad.
But that's like one of the themes that we talk about on the podcast is every so often, somebody they'll get some great revenge and it'll be really poetic and appropriate for the wrong that was done to them. And we'll say, you know what? You win today. You are not guilty of a petty crime, even though what they have done is petty, right?
Got it.
But other times somebody will exact some sort of petty revenge that does not fit what has been done to them.
Right. Like they'll murder someone instead.
Every other episode. No, like, one time there was an episode where their upstairs neighbors in Brooklyn were always throwing parties. And then on the 4th of July, they went into the basement, they used the landlord's key, and they shut the person's power off.
Okay, too far.
And their AC couldn't work, and all the food in their fridge went bad. And the woman came down and said, like, can you help me? And they said, like, no, sorry, I can't. And we were like, too far. You overshot.
You could have maybe just cut the lights for a little bit or helped or
something.
I don't know.
But to be petty is like, I feel like it, to me, the perfect petty person, they know what is an appropriate serving.
Yes, they have the correct dosage for the crime.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay, we're going to come off pettiness for now, but at the end of the month, you and I are doing The Art Thief by Michael Finkel for book club.
Yes.
And so this is the first time I've ever let my Patreon audience vote for the book club pick. And I wasn't sure what they would pick. I picked you had suggested Ali Wong. Like I picked a mix of the things that we had gone back and forth about. And I was so excited they picked this book because I've heard that it's amazing, but also it has this true crime element, but it's not violent crime. We're talking about art. So I'm very excited for us to get to talk about that. That episode will drop on June 25th. So people listening, you have until then to listen or to read the book to listen. But I'm hoping we get some petty. I feel like an art thief's got to have.
Definitely.
I feel like that's the kind of person. It sounds like it could be petty.
I'm so excited too. I've heard such good things about this book.
Me too. And it's so short. It's teeny tiny.
Perfect.
Which at this day and age is really hard for me to do long books. So I'm very excited about it. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Valentine's Day is upon us and I've got love on the brain. Love for books. Duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind the scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to tracythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks. Okay, we're back. I did not prep you for this, so this is your big test. People write in and they ask for a book recommendation, and this one is sort of hard. Sorry, but I think it's a good one. So here it goes. It's from Gina, and Gina says, "This year I unintentionally read a few nonfiction books all set during the U.S. Civil Rights Movement of the 1950s and 60s. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X by Manning Marable, March, the graphic memoir series, and Until I'm Free by Keisha Blaine about Fannie Lou Hamer. While I loved each of those titles on their own, I really loved seeing how they were all in conversation with one another and how together they gave me a richer overall picture of the civil rights movement than if I had just read one title. So I'm writing to see if you have recommendations for another historical event, movement, or period that I could read about through multiple perspectives and books. My mind automatically went to World War II, Vietnam, but curious if you have any other ideas. You don't have to offer me a full reading list. 1 or 2 titles to kick me off would be great." So first and foremost, I'm going to start here. I'm going to give you time to think if you need it. I'm going to vamp for a second. First and foremost, Gina, I just released my nonfiction reading guide in May, and I did a whole section on World War II. It's 5 books all about World War II that you can deep dive on. So if you want that, if folks want to see that, you can get that by joining the Patreon, patreon.com/thestacks, or subscribing to the Substack, tracythomas.substack.com. So yes, that's my plug for the nonfiction reading guide. It's 30 nonfiction books, and 5 of them are about World War II. Now, that being said, I came up with a topic that I thought would be fun to read into, and that is the War on Terror. I feel like it's historical enough. There have been a lot of really good books that have come out about it. A few of the titles that I'm thinking of are The Looming Tower by Lawrence Wright, which won the Pulitzer. Friend of the pod, Garrett M. Graff's oral history of 9/11 called The Only Plane in the Sky. There's a book called Reign of Terror by Spencer Ackerman. John Krakauer, my fave, his book Where Men Win Glory about Pat Tillman. So these are all sort of books related to 9/11 and its fallout. So that's something that popped into my head. But Ceara, do you have any topic, moment, period that you could recommend a book or two for?
I do. I think there's a really I mean my last name's O'Sullivan, so who would I be if I didn't talk about Irish immigration to the United States? And I was an Irish studies minor in college, and I have like a great love for Irish authors. And I'm thinking of Brooklyn by Colm Tobin, and I'm thinking of Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. And I feel like there are just so many great autobiographical, semi-autobiographical, and fiction books about Irish immigrants establishing themselves in New York City, like 1920 to 1950. And just like the best books. Also, randomly, I feel like Fever 1773. No, I think that's like a little young though for kid. It's probably not for adults. Anyway, okay. That's what I'm thinking of.
That's very good. I'm very impressed by you. Gina, let us know if you read any of our picks. And for people who want to have a book recommendation read on air, email askthestackspodcast.com. Okay, Ceara, you're on the hot seat now. This is the Stacks questionnaire. 2 books you love, 1 book you hate.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim, David Sedaris.
That's a love.
That's a love. Gosh, I know everybody's read it, but Devil in the White City, that's a love.
I've never read it. I've read some of his other
the
stuff.
Deal?
I've read his other stuff. I like him. I met him. I fangirled over him. That's just one of the ones I never got to. I think because my best girlfriend, who I like to gossip with, who was out of the country with my mom, not together, she read it when we were maybe in high school or in college. And it took her a really long time to get through it. And she was like, I mean, this book is supposed to be really good, but it's kind of boring. And I think that just stuck with me, even though we were like 16. But you know how someone says something like that and then you never forget it. And so I just never did it. But I know that I need to.
You have to.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I probably haven't read in 10 years, but I just like when that's a book I recommend to people when they say they haven't read in a while. I recommend it to guys a lot.
It's definitely a guy book. He's like a guy's author for sure.
Yeah, he is. Sure. He's like Dan Brown adjacent.
Yeah. He's like nonfiction guy.
Yeah, totally. Okay, a book I hate. Let me think. You know what? I was all set on the Canterbury Tales.
Whoa, you read that in school?
Yes, and I was like, oh my God, it's like reading the Bible. Like it's in Middle English. I was like, this is so hard. It's not even reading. It's more like archaeology.
I don't think anyone's ever said the Canterbury Tales. I don't know that anybody who's ever been on this podcast has even read it, to be honest with you.
Well, don't. Let me tell you, sister. And if you see a copy, burn it. No. No.
We're advocating for burning books around here now. That's our new thing. Yeah, we are really into it. We hate books here. What kind of reader are you? Do you read a lot? Will you sit down and read like one book and then not read again for months? Are you a vacation only reader? Like, what's your reading sort of life look like?
Once I start a book, I finish it pretty quickly.
Okay.
And I am a summer heavy reader.
Okay.
So we are entering this season of the book.
Got it. Okay.
But of course, I'm your classic girl who's like, I love to read. And then if you really press me, have I read more than one book in the last month? I haven't.
Okay. That's regular. I think that's normal. Do you know that
it's regular? I
think like 46% of people, I don't know, I saw this somewhere, so who knows what the actual true number is, did not read a single book in 2023.
Jesus.
Crazy, right? I don't know if it's people. It might be Americans. Let me not lump in other people from other places because I bet they're reading. We're not reading, but
it's not good for your brains, y'all.
Yeah, we need to be reading. Can you read multiple books at once?
No.
Even if you're doing one, do you ever do like one audio, one with your eyes, or will you do only one period?
I'm a big New York Public Library gal.
Got it.
I'm like, utilize your libraries.
Yes.
And I, when possible, will get the physical copy and the audio copy, and I will switch back and forth.
Me too.
And I will listen on them on the go, and I'll read when I'm home.
That's my preferred way of reading is doing one book. What's your audiobook speed? Are you one? Do you go faster?
I do go one. Do you go faster?
Oh, yeah, babe. I go way faster.
Whoa.
1.5 is my bare minimum. That's where I start. Unless someone has an accent. If the audiobook reader has a British or Irish accent or something, then I have to slow it down because my brain can't do that fast. But otherwise, I go up usually 1.5, somewhere between 1.5 and 1.8.
You know, maybe I should bump it up because sometimes I am a tiny bit understimulated. And also when I'm reviewing my own podcast, I review it on at least 1.5.
Oh, so I never do podcasts fast. Don't even do my own podcast fast.
You'll review it a lot quicker.
I should be doing my own podcast faster because
and then you're done in half the time. Yeah, exactly.
It's not even like I'm like trying to get the information. Wow, this is incredible. It never had occurred to me to do my own podcast review faster. But podcasts, I think people speak the regular speed. Audiobooks, they slow way down.
Oh my gosh.
To make sure you understand the story. You know, so for me, I'm like, we gotta go.
What an astute observation. I'm going to write an SNL sketch about the way audiobook readers read.
Oh, please do. There's a woman who I actually love her when she's sped up, but when she's slow, she's too slow. But she did Station 11. Her name is Kirsten Potter, I think.
Uh-huh.
And she's fantastic. Like, I think she's a great audiobook narrator. But at one, girl, we gotta Kirsten, we got to do it. We
Wow.
got to do it. But she's great. Please do an SNL sketch about this so that I can then tell everyone I know that I invented an SNL sketch. Because I will. It'll be everywhere. I'll be like, ask Kira. Kira knows.
It's true. And the Stacks listeners will know. They'll be able to point to this episode and say, like, that's when Tracy made that observation.
Oh my God, it's going to be in my link to bio. It's going to be everywhere. What are you reading right now?
Ooh, right this second, I'm about to start The Art Thief.
Okay.
And, okay, let me look and see what I have queued up.
Yeah, what do you have?
Okay, so Griff, who I host Petty Crimes with, has been all about these sexy fairies.
Right. He told me
Thorns.
about this when I did the show.
Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, wait, I loved Harry Potter. I loved Lord of the Rings. Am I totally missing out on something I'm absolutely going to love? And I just told you I get through books quickly. Mm-hmm. I'm on chapter 11 and I don't know if I'm going to finish
You're gonna finish it. I feel like fairies fucking is a little bit different than like Katniss Everdeen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just reread the first 3 books in the Hunger Games series. Even better than I remember.
Wow.
They're incredible. I got to read books 4 and 5. I've never read either. I've never read 4 and 5 just came out, but I'm so excited about it. I went back. I'm now Suzanne Collins' biggest fan.
Love those books. I should do the same thing. I forgot that 5 just came out. That's so crazy.
5 came out and it got like a rave in the New York Times. They're saying it's like their list of best books so far this year. It's on there, which I'm shocked about. Not because I don't think it's good, but because the New York Times usually doesn't take YA genre fiction super seriously. No. Okay. How do you decide what to read next if Griff doesn't tell you to read Fairy Smut?
I am big on personal recommendations.
Okay.
So,
who are your trusted sources?
My dad is a really big reader, but he's a better reader than I am. So sometimes he'll recommend something to me and I'll find it to be a little dry. Like he really recommended Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Did you ever read that?
No.
And I was like, this is a little dry. My sister, I will say, I think she's reliable, and my Aunt Jean is really reliable.
Okay. And what are they recommending to you? What are the last great books either of them recommended to you?
My sister recommended Maid.
Okay.
And I loved it. Wait, I sometimes do this wrong because there's one that's Maid and there's one that's The Maid, and I've read them both. But
Maid is the nonfiction and The Maid is the fiction.
Yes, I want to be recommending The Maid.
Okay.
I loved it. It was a little different. Like if you're looking for something like that kind of like, I don't know, to kind of break up what you're listening to, I think The Maid is a good one. The protagonist is autistic and she's a maid at a hotel and she becomes wrapped up in this event and she's not able to pick up on social cues or advocate for herself in the way that she needs to. And so there's this really great, dramatic irony. And that's, I would say, like the big device at play there. But the point of view is really interesting. And yeah, I liked that. Yeah.
What about Aunt Jean?
She has a book club that is thriving in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And so shout out to Aunt Jean and her book club. She's reading whatever the gals are reading. Sometimes they're reading a classic. Sometimes they're reading something that's not that good. It kind of depends. I would say her personal taste is, like, I think she read, Where the Crawdads Sing and loved it.
But what's something she recommended to you that you loved? Can you think of any?
Not a book.
Okay.
But the biggest recommendation my Aunt Jean ever made to me that was so impactful was, it's book adjacent.
Okay.
Is the 6-part BBC Pride and Prejudice.
Oh.
Have you seen that?
No, I'm not a Pride and Prejudice girl.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not for me. I read it. I just...
Do you like Jane Austen?
No. No, I don't.
Okay.
I really love nonfiction. So nonfiction is really my bread and butter.
Gotcha.
And when I have to go back and do the classics, that is not for me. However, she wrote Emma, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think I want to try Emma. Emma sounds like it is the
Yeah.
one that I am most likely to like because I really like a villain character
Yes.
or like I like an unlikable woman. Those are my favorite kinds of
Oh,
novels. And I think Pride and Prejudice was just a little too
yeah.
earnest for me. I needed one of
Okay.
the sisters to be fucking behind the back or something. Like I needed a little more drama.
Yeah. Have you read Lolita?
We did that for book club this year.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. What did you
Yes.
think?
Well, I mean, it's pretty unsettling, that's for
Yeah.
sure. And it's definitely unlikable narrator. I really
Yeah.
appreciated it. It's It's icky. Like it's an
Yeah.
uncomfortable read, but I liked it. I thought it was a little slow.
Uh-huh.
Nabokov's love of language was a little much for me personally. As I
Yeah.
mentioned, I like to go a little faster with my reading. And
Yeah.
that was definitely a slowdown one. I thought it was a great book club pick though.
Yeah. Do you like, are you an imaginative person? Do you feel like, are you more of like a concrete person?
Ooh. I think in some ways, I think I would say I'm more of a concrete person, though
Mhm.
I am creative. I'm generative. So like I come up with a
Okay,
lot of
okay.
ideas, but I'm not imaginative per se. But I'm not totally rigid. I have an artist's background, right? Like I
Uh-huh.
used to dance and I used to act. And so I can imagine, but I am pretty concrete.
I am, on the other hand, like very imaginative.
Okay.
And so I don't mind a book that forces me to like extend my disbelief really, really far
Okay.
and has something like a play that I really love is The Santaland Diaries.
I don't know that.
It's a great read too, especially like around the holidays. And it's a one-man show about somebody who is an elf at
Okay.
Gimbals.
Okay.
And there are so many times in the play, whether you're reading it or watching it, where you have to extend your disbelief as the audience. And I've heard people say, like, this part to me made no sense when he inhabited this other character. And I was like, I have no problem with it.
I can suspend my disbelief if you can justify it, but if I feel like you've made a mistake, like if that to me is like I've said this before, but there was a book I read and it was fiction and I was with it, and then the author was like, and then on Monday, September 11th, and I was like, no, it was actually a Tuesday. Like that kind of thing, like a mistake will make me hate your book forever. But I can go with you. Like if the rules of the world are that we're inhabiting other people's bodies, like let's inhabit. I can do it.
Cool.
So I'm sort of
Cool.
in between, I think.
Oh, I thought of another book I hate.
Oh yeah, which one?
The Uglies.
I don't know that.
Ugh.
What
Terrible.
is it? Why do you hate it?
I think they like just made it into a TV show. I didn't watch it either. I don't know. It was just one of those dumb books that everyone was reading in middle school.
Okay.
And it was about like, you're ugly and then one day you get to become pretty. And I was like, shut up.
That's
Shut
the
up.
worst. That sounds bad.
Yes.
Okay, you said you're a library girly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you also frequent any independent bookstores? Do you have any favorite bookstores?
I definitely do. I live on the Upper West Side, not afraid for you to know my neighborhood. It's a pretty big neighborhood. And I love the Strand,
Oh, yeah.
which is right around the corner from me. There's also this really great used bookshop near me. I forget what it's called, but I love this is actually really a really bad habit, but I love like going to different branches of NYPL that are not near me. And I like picking up a book from one place and returning it somewhere else and picking up a book over there. And it's such a luxury. We're so lucky.
Yeah. I'm in LA and we have a very large and thriving library. And so sometimes I'll take my kids to a different library near a park we're going to try so that we can get like different books from a different, I love it. What's the last book that made you laugh?
The last book I read that made me really laugh and really cry was Molly Shannon's memoir.
Okay, she had a very rough childhood. I had no idea till that book came out. I didn't read the book. My husband listened to an interview and got the highlights.
I mean, sincerely, like it's called Hello Molly, and she had a traumatizing upbringing. Like, was in a car accident that killed most of her immediate family, and she is unbelievably resilient. I've now had like the pleasure of meeting and working with her multiple times, and she could not be like a brighter light. It also was, you probably have had this experience because you host a literary podcast. I had not, until very recently, I hadn't had the experience of reading an autobiography and then meeting the person in real life and being like, this is interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like that a lot. One of the things that I try to do when I'm interviewing an author is to make sure that I read the book before I ever meet or speak to them. Because sometimes meeting a person can really color what I think about the work, both good and bad. And I pride myself on having, like giving my honest opinion about things. But I am Leo and I like attention. So if someone is nice to me, I'm going to be like, their book is amazing. So I really try not to meet people till after I've read the book.
It's hard not to. We all want to be liked.
Yeah. But I feel like people know this about me now. And so they've started like being extra nice to me. Like, don't stop. I'm not going to read your book now. But it is interesting. I do remember the first few times I spoke to someone, because it's also like, I know too much about you.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, it's like I know too much about you, and I have also had some friends write memoirs, and that's been really interesting because there'll be things in the book that I didn't know about their life. Just like maybe from their childhood or like personal stories. You know, you have friends and there's certain things that just never come up, or their thoughts and feelings about an event or something that I remember happening, but I didn't know that that's how they felt about it. You know, just that is really interesting.
My mom had a very similar experience with that, where a close friend who's a very big author wrote a memoir, and my mom just had a much different memory of some of the things that happened, and she's really struggled with it.
That's interesting.
And I don't know, and it's hard to say, but I think it makes you realize in any memoir you're reading, like it's that person's version.
Yeah. I think people sometimes get confused about the difference between like a memoir and an autobiography, or a memoir and nonfiction. And memoir really lives in between those things. It is not fact checked. There is no objective in a memoir. It is based on memories. It is based on your own creative interpretation of events. And I think sometimes people get mad when not people who know the person, but just in general, people like, well, I don't believe that. It's like, well, that's not really, I'm telling you my version of events in the way that I want to tell you my version of events. And that is just the bargain you make when you read a memoir. Which I'm
so glad you said that. I feel like I've been mentally conflating autobiography and memoir.
They're so similar. So here's like the technical difference, if you care. Memoir is based in memory. It's usually supposed to be about one event or topic. It's not the whole life. Autobiography is usually the whole life. It's supposed to be based in fact, though, again, that can be subjective. But it also usually has a political or philosophical or some sort of message it's trying to get across to you, some sort of philosophy of the author. And I don't know if I said this, but it's supposed to span the whole life. I think with celebrity memoirs now, they sort of are autobiographical in the sense that they span a longer period of time.
Because people want to know.
Yeah, because people want to know your whole life story and you're a celebrity. But it used to be that like memoir, you know, a memoir should be like, that time I was a writer at SNL, not Ceara O'Sullivan's life story that culminates with her writing at SNL. Hopefully that's not where your story culminates, but you know,
not.
So those things kind of conflate. But yes, memoir is a little more creative writing and is based in memory and feeling. And so that's why in a memoir, you'll get someone being like, and then when I was 2, I said to my mom, I'm like, bitch, you didn't say shit when you were 2 to your mom and you don't remember it. So how dare you?
You know, I should actually tell this. I'm going to FaceTime my mom after we are done talking, and I'm going to tell her this about memoir. And I hope that maybe it will
free her.
Yeah, I hope it will.
Wait, I have to ask you this because you said that you love Irish literature.
Yeah.
Have you read Say Nothing about Northern Ireland?
No, I haven't.
You got to read it.
I need to. Okay.
He's not Irish from Ireland, Patrick Radden Keefe. I think he's like loosely Irish. I think he mentions at the end of the book, he's like, I'm kind of Irish. Patrick, you know, go with it. But it's about the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and it is so good. And then they just made the TV show about it that is also incredible. I know that's not exactly Ireland, obviously. There's some tension there. I read the book, heard about it, but it's so good. And Patrick Radden Keefe is my boyfriend. I've let him know that many times. But he's sort of Eric Larson-y, but
okay.
But more John Krakauer.
Oh, great.
I would say he's more in the. I feel like Eric Larson is a little drier. Patrick is kind of he's there's stuff to sink your teeth into.
Oh,
there.
Cool. Well, I already like Eric Larson, so
okay. And if you do the audiobook, it's narrated by someone with an Irish accent, which I did have to slow down. I think I was about 1.2 for that one. But the Irish accent is very, very good. Patrick Radden Keefe also wrote the story of the Sackler family, and Empire of Pain was what it was called. And he's really just good at that, like investigative journalism, like fucked up shit kind of guy. Awesome. If that's your jam.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you this when I asked you about reading in general. What is your ideal reading setup? Location, time of day, snack or beverage?
I love to read any time of day, but I would say like I want to be on my couch in the afternoon with a cup of tea and a blanket on me and a pile of cats.
That was a surprise. What kind of tea are you drinking and how do you take it?
I take an Earl Grey with milk and honey.
Okay. I love this.
My tea is for pleasure, not for service.
Yes.
And
oh my God, I'm stealing that. I'm a milk and sugar tea drinker. And sometimes people will be like, that tea is very light. I'm like, yeah, it's because I actually put half and half in my tea.
Oh, that's so good.
It's really delicious.
Yeah.
Are there any books that you would say have influenced your professional career?
Definitely. I read Amy Poehler and Tina Fey's memoirs, and love them both. And I'd be lying if I said they didn't impact me and make me think that I could be a television writer and be a woman in comedy and write for Saturday Night Live, particularly Amy Poehler's. And I've met and worked closely with both of them now. Like I worked with them on the SNL 50th in February and had the most amazing experience and learned so much from them. And Amy Poehler went to my college and we were in the same improv group. And I'm not a Nepo baby. I'm the farthest thing from it. Like my dad worked in trucking and my mom was an aquatic director at a YMCA. Okay. So like there were no ties to the industry, not even remotely. And Amy, having gone to my college, because Amy went to my college, it made me think like, oh, I am connected. There is this thread here. And
what college?
So, Boston College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was like enough for me. Like for a pretty embarrassingly long time, I was hanging my hat on the fact that Amy Poehler and I had gone to the same college and we were in the same improv group.
I love
that. Was like somehow that was my claim to fame.
I'm obsessed with that. I love that. I love that. Did you tell her that when you met her?
I did. I told her at an after party sometime. I was like, "Hi," and she goes, "Ceara, I love your TikToks. You are so," and she was like, "You're doing so good at SNL. You were so," she was so sweet to me. And I was like, "We were in Fleabag. We were both in my mother's Fleabag." And she was like, "No way, you're Fleabag." And
that's
it
amazing.
was, I basically like floated out of the after party. It was honestly one of the best moments of my life.
I'm obsessed. Okay. Because you're a TV and film person, I would like to know if you have a favorite book to screen adaptation. And do you have any adaptations you can think of that were better than the book?
This is going to be controversial.
Oh my God, I can't wait. We love controversy.
I read Little Fires Everywhere, and then I watched Little Fires Everywhere. I did enjoy it more on TV.
Okay. I didn't read it or see it, so I have no horse in this race.
Yeah, that's one. Okay. I don't, and sometimes it's all when something hits you,
Yeah, no.
Like, and I also love Kerry Washington, so it's like, I love the actor, Yeah. So that's one. Let's see. I know Legally Blonde is a book that I haven't read. Yeah. And then it's a movie that I love.
A movie that
and
I
then
love.
it's And then it's a musical
that I love
even more.
Even more. The musical is so good. Wait, I'm so excited that you said that. I saw it like 4 times on Broadway because it came out when I was in college in New York.
Oh, it's so good. And you can find the MTV bootleg hosted by Lauren Conrad on YouTube if you want to see it. And the whole thing is there and it's effing amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And now the prequel series is coming out on Amazon Prime, which is all about Elle Woods as a high schooler in 1995. And people are saying it's good.
I hope so. Elle Woods is one of the great characters. The hill I will die on is that Legally Blonde is what Barbie should have been.
Oh, uh-huh.
Because Barbie, the actual Barbie, didn't have enough going on. She wasn't likable. She wasn't fighting against anything. I feel like Elle Woods is Barbie, just an actual plot and character. And I just,
It was interesting the way they went with Barbie. She was so concerned with the fact that she was a Barbie.
Yeah.
But Barbie is not concerned that Barbie's a Barbie. Barbie is Barbie.
Barbie is Barbie. And the whole, I mean, my rewrite would have been that when Barbie got to the outside world, she was concerned about all that was wrong in the world. And so then she, like Elle Woods, like goes out and tries to fix things and like tries to like build a house for homeless people or like opens a restaurant for, whatever. But that that we have Barbie, who is a Barbie in the world, dealing with the darkness of the world, but as Barbie. And it works out great because that's Elle Woods.
That I wonder, like, I always now when I'm watching movies, I think about the conversations that are being had. What are the studio notes? Like, what are, and I felt like they were worried about it banging up against Elle Woods.
Oh.
And I think they were also worried about it banging up against Life Size.
I don't know what Life Size is.
It's kind of like Barbie. It's actually just like Barbie, but it stars Tyra Banks.
Oh, yes. Of course I do. I do know that movie. Yes.
And she's kind of what you're describing, that she comes to life and she wants the world to be perfect and it's not.
Well, I think, to your point, I think they got a little too cute with it. They tried to do something and it's sort of like these archetypes and these kinds of stories exist and they work. If you can bring your own Barbiness to it, it's no one's gonna be like, oh, this is just like Legally Blonde. And also no one's like, I've had too much Legally Blonde.
That's true.
Like nobody's we do a million Marvel movies and they're all the same and nobody cares. But it's like, oh, Barbie can't be too much like Elle Woods, a movie that came out 20 years ago.
It's true. And also like I'm putting words in somebody else's mouth, but I would bet money
that they were worried about
I'm
that.
So glad that we have the same thoughts about Barbie.
I am too, because that was an unpopular opinion I had at the time. And people were really unhappy with me when I was talking shit about Barbie. I feel like we've come around.
Yeah.
Broadly.
But she is a character. She didn't have much going on.
She didn't. We both like writing. We know what was happening there. Okay, last question. I stole this from the New York Times by the book. If you could require the current president of the United States to read one book, what would it be?
Wow, what a tremendous question.
It's from the New York Times again. I can't take credit.
I'm like thinking of that Dale Carnegie book that's like How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I feel like if he's read any books, that's the only one he's read.
I know. But I'm trying to think of like the equivalent of that book that just like tells you like how to be a good I'm trying to cheat this question is basically what's happening. But let me give it a second of thought. Yeah, I don't know, like the Kite Runner, like just something about somebody that has nothing the fuck to do with him that is really full of heart.
I love it. I love the Kite Runner. Full of heart. That's a good way to describe it. Okay. I'll take it. You passed the test.
I would, you know what? It would just be great if you read any single book.
Any book, yeah. I mean, that is the bar on the floor, literally under the floor. Read at least as many books as my 5-year-old children.
Yeah.
That would be great. Okay. Everybody at home, Ceara O'Sullivan, today's guest, will be back on Wednesday, June 25th to discuss The Art Thief with us. We will be spoiling the book. It's nonfiction, but I feel like there's going to be spoilers about what happens with the art and the thievery. So read along, come back and see us then. Ceara, this has been a total joy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks for having me. And I'm really excited to talk about The Art Thief.
Me too. Everyone else, we will see you in the stacks. All right, y'all, that does it for us today. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you again to Ceara for joining the show. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to Amber Watson, Leslie Guam, and Jackson Musker for making today's episode possible. Remember, our book club pick this month is The Art Thief by Michael Finkel, which we will discuss on Wednesday, June 25th with Ceara O'Sullivan. If you love the show and you want inside access to it, head to patreon.com/thestacks to join the Stacks Pack. And check out my newsletter at tracythomas.substack.com. Make sure you're subscribed to The Stacks wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a rating and a review. For more from The Stacks, follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And check out our website at thestackspodcast.com. This episode of The Stacks was edited by Christian Duenas with production assistance from Waikia Freelo. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tigirigis. The Stacks is created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas.